the special. I'd like to call the special meeting of the Dover Select Board. On Thursday, November 14th, 2024 at 2:03 p.m. First order, most of this budget is going to be considering the budget. And we're going to start off with Marco Tellini, the town treasurer.
Okay. I am putting, for salary, a, cost of living, 3%. So, but I'd be obviously happy with whatever the board decides. And for my mileage and expense, it was at 47.50 last year, and I'm putting in for 5,000 this year because of basically the postage and just the cost of like some of the paper that we get and the increase in the federal mileage rate. So I usually come in under that though. So basically those are my two line items.
Well, that took a long time.
Yeah. And Tabby was, if you want to jump to
Go right to zone. Perfect.
So again, Tabby put in for 3%. So you can see zoning administrator 42,314. And we allocate an additional 5,000 for her IT work. So in total, she's at about 47. And that's it. But we don't, there's no increase on the 5,000, it's just on her IT, on her zoning side. And then if you were to jump down a little bit, under the operational zoning mileage and expense, the 14,2305. You'll notice that last year she budgeted 1,500, came in at about 6,200. That's because she kind of neglected to budget in that iWork. It's like a filing system software for all the zoning files. And that's the increase.
It isn't mileage, it's.
No, it's not mileage, it's that software. It was about 4,000 or 5,000 in that. So this year she's budgeting 1,800. She's probably gonna go over again because she didn't account for that. So next year, you'll see the 5,500. And about 3,700 of that is that program called iWork. So everything else in her world as far
And that's
as
an annual?
it seems to be an annual thing, and I don't know if that's just until they get it up and running. Or, and then there's a maintenance, because she's still doing testing, et cetera, so. So I don't know if going forward that maybe would need to go into computer services as opposed to her line item, you know, we're gonna look at that.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's also budgeting zoning legal fees, because now we've broken out legal fees in a little more detail. So she came in at 2,800 at June 30. She's budgeting. We didn't budget anything this year, but it's for a go forward 3,000.
What line item is that? Marco?
It's 714-4201.
Okay.
And planning commission legal fees of 25,000 this year, continuing that next year.
Do we have in her budget? What she takes in for income?
We have that on the income budget,
Okay.
separate budget, but yes, we do account for that, and that is accounted for when we calculate the tax rate. We estimate revenue across the house, everybody's. We reduce our, we generally, it's usually around.
So just as we were speaking, did she talk about going up on her pricing?
I didn't get into that specifically with her and her pricing, per square foot, what she charges for a permit, but that's probably the discussion.
And she's not here today?
She went home sick.
Oh.
Went home sick.
Oh, bummer. Okay, well, we can revisit that in the next meeting as well with her. Okay. And the planning commission, why 25,000 for next year?
Finishing up the town plan,
It's done.
The town
Done.
plan is done, that's for writing the bylaw.
writing the bylaw.
Okay. I just wanted to
Writing
know.
Once the town plan is written, then the bylaw
Gotcha.
has to be reviewed.
Okay,
There's a very good possibility we will be eligible for, and there's a good possibility we'll be awarded a grant,
okay, she did mention that.
yeah,
For all or part?
probably all. But we should have it in the budget.
Yes.
So we're
In
gonna,
case
so
we don't get
we'll earmark some revenue to come in for that.
Yep,
We think it's a solid chance to get it.
Yeah.
We can, okay,
okay.
Yeah, and depending on how much we decide there's a large chunk of bylaw that really didn't get changed at all.
okay,
And then there's a few areas where we're gonna have to we're gonna have to fix some stuff that needed to be fixed a while ago.
okay. Well, that's what I
Okay.
have for myself and zoning.
Well, why did you take so long?
Oh, you know.
Rich, are you ready?
Yeah.
You're up early.
So I just, this is the first year we went through where we had broken everything out for like the training, search and rescue, the call stuff.
Mhm.
And everything looked really, really good, with the exception of our regular drills, and I think we're getting a few more people. So I upped that about 5% just to get us, I think, more in line, because if you look at our budget, we're 4 months in, we should be around 33%. And we're a little bit high on that, so that's why I increased that about 5. I left everything else the same with the exception of officer stipends. Because I haven't had a full, that always gets paid at the end of the year, so it's, that's not a monthly thing that I can look at and kind of figure, oh, we're high or low. But I wanna increase the stipends a little bit, cause I'm asking the guys to do a little bit more. And then the only other thing I increased is, on the next page. Was by 5% was the administrative assistant, because I wasn't sure what you guys were doing for raises. But I owe him a 6-month review that I'll bring to you folks here shortly. And then I figured, I'd like to get him on, or that position, get increases when everybody else gets increases every year, and that's that 10-20. So, I mean, that was really, and then so obviously FICA increased and retirement increased a little bit.
I found out, Rich, that not to interrupt, but with retirement. So I'm on the fire department, volunteer, right? So the system can't split out the retirement related to my wages there versus my wages here. It all goes to one. So it gets picked up in administration, just so you know. But if you want to leave 500
Well, then
bucks,
we should maybe
yeah.
take that out, I guess, or maybe what you should do is, I don't know how hard it is for you to just take that $518 and put it where it needs to go.
We could do that. We can, yeah.
I was just trying to give you guys a real accounting of what it looks like, and it was a lot different when Gary and I were there. Because we were, yeah, we as officers, we got more. So that's when I was first asked, I think, to do that, so. So it's up to you folks on that one. And
So, Rich, can I jump back?
Yeah.
Sorry. Year to date on your drills, your training.
Regular.
Fire salaries and drills and online training, that you're already at 63.5% at. Yeah. As of yesterday.
right, and we looked into that, and I think there were some numbers that need to be changed, and I think
Okay.
Eric talked to you about that. So, and again, the other thing is what I'm trying to do, remember, we haven't done a full year with this, we really implemented the breakdown. With the budget that we're currently in. So I know on like the other numbers were really low on percentage, some of them were at like 0. And I don't really see that there may be any expenses for them this year. So kind of bottom line, I think I'm gonna be okay on the salaries. But I was figuring if we increase that one by 5%, we hopefully will be closer If I need to change things around, I may for next year's budget. But I think for right now, I'm gonna be really close.
Okay, I just was curious, and because if you continue at this pace,
Right,
you're gonna be way above this number you're projecting.
But I think if you look at all the line items.
Yeah.
If you total them all up, and again, that stipend thing kind of throws us a little bit.
Right,
And we're not, the busy time is December, January, February.
yeah, cause under all of that, they're only at 22, almost 23%.
Right, so I'm a little low,
But there's a lot of back end loading,
Right.
winter loading.
and then I'll also have next year I'll have a couple years to actually show you the real numbers. Excuse me. Are you guys good on salaries?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then, under administration. The office expense was really high because we really didn't have an admin that was paying attention. And so we had to catch up on some stuff. We ordered a bunch of supplies, paper. I forget what else, printer cartridges and some odds and ends. So I think if you look the previous year, we were like $800. So I think we're gonna be pretty good. With that 1,300 again, because this year we're not anywhere near as close. And dispatching, I called yesterday, they had their meeting last night and he was gonna send me an email on it and I didn't see it today, but he said they were proposing a 6% increase. So I just put the 6% in, and remember, that's both sides of the hill. We cover Eastover's dispatching too. And then fees and dues, that did go up. I kept that at the same level. I think we're pretty set. We did have some expense with, fees and dues or for like our, the dispatch program and the alerting system and some of those items. I think we also, included, we're changing over, mutual aid is changing, and I get them confused. There's two different dispatches. There was like Spotted Dog and something else. And we went with something else. And now mutual aid is moving into a different program, and the guys really like that one better. So we're moving over to that, but we get 3 years for free. So
Okay.
it's not really for free because we spend 65,000 on dispatching, and it comes out of that. But they're not charging us any additional for it. It's worked into their budget. So, that's up just that, it's up a total of 5% just because of the 6% increase.
Okay,
The next one is a shocker, fuel and oil for the trucks. So that's up, I think I'm not sure if that's correct, but if it really is 2,400%, it is what it is. I don't think it is 2,400%, but
260 years.
okay, well, mine thinks that 2,400 on the formula. So anyways, I guess what had happened in the past.
I didn't sit here because Dan's not here in person. He's on.
So anyways, I guess because I called Travis just to ask him, so in the old days, there was never really a system, and what would happen with Gary and Bobby, they would just kind of throw a number out there. And it was never an actual number, so it was always kind of a guess. So I guess with the new system now, they track it better. So I asked Travis if that 3,400 was really our number. And he said, yeah, it was, for the previous.
Mhm.
So what I did was I went up a little, but he did say that, the price of fuel looks to be pretty steady. I'm seeing it coming down a little bit, but again, there's days when fuel jumps 20 cents a gallon. Most of ours is diesel. We don't really have anything major that uses gas, and what we do is we buy the non-ethanol, so if it sits in there, it doesn't destroy stuff. So I'm pretty confident that 3,600 will be good, and that'll just have to be our new norm. And then vehicle parts, supplies, go ahead.
No, I'm looking at year to date and just
What do you-
fuel, this is the same line item, 52.
Yeah.
You're at $46.
Yeah, because I never get billed to the
We
end of the
usually
year.
do it towards the end of the year when we have. When the system prints out a report for us, and then we do it like May, June, for the end of the fiscal year.
So that's also a little bit hard to deal with because we have no way when we set the budget to know what we're
Well,
really,
we can do it mid-year. You
Just to
try
make
one
sure
out,
we're
get some
on
numbers.
track.
Yeah,
I
I got
just-
Travis run the report now.
you know, it,
Yeah,
then as a
Yeah.
check, like halfway through the fiscal
Sure.
year, I think
Yeah.
that would be important.
absolutely.
To get a reality check of where we're at.
Yeah, I think that our fuel is pretty constant, it's not, I don't think there's a huge up and down with that.
Okay,
So, that's why I was just guessing, but yes, it would be nice if maybe like, just before
for
budget
for
time.
all departments to know, like the police department and
Yeah,
you know.
I'm sure they use a lot more fuel than we do.
I'm sure they do.
And again, it used to be a guess, they would just kind of throw in
Mhm.
a
We can
number.
do a mid-year.
That'd be great.
True up. Sure.
That's great.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so then on the vehicle parts and supplies, I have that 5,000. We're at 37,000, almost 38 last year. Again, we've been keeping vehicles longer and when you guys, everybody else wants new vehicles, so I've always kind of pushed things out. And just because it's 20 years old, my old 69 fire truck has 12,000 miles.
Yeah, and you've already spent 91% this year.
Yeah, but we bought tires for the ladder truck this year because that was when we had it up to Dingy's for its annual pump inspection and stuff. Part of their inspection is they said these tires are looking bad. They're the original tires. The truck is 20 years old. We should be replacing tires after 10 years or so.
But I'm supposed to be on the road after 10 years.
Yeah, I know. But if I bought tires every 10 years, it's the
There's
tire,
not enough mileage on it.
right,
Right.
but sometimes.
It's like oil changes, right?
Yeah, sometimes I thought of, if the tires fit the highway trucks is, run for 5 years and give them to the highway department, they can, burn them out, cause they wear their tires out, we
They're
watch
the
them.
same, so they're the same size.
Some are and some aren't, I don't.
I would doubt that the
Ladder truck.
ladder truck would have.
Well, the rears may be, the fronts are the big tires like on cement mixers and stuff. But again, the only thing we know of that hasn't had tires in a while is the utility truck, so. But that's only 6 tires versus 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 tires and big tires,
Okay.
supersized tires. And the other thing is the old Mac, which is still nice because Travis can still help us fix that and Mike at the firehouse. That's going down the road though, in another year and a half, hopefully, so. We'll start to not do things on that as it gets towards for time for it to go away, so. Again, it's a crapshoot. If I had a crystal ball, I sure wouldn't be here for it. Good on the trucks. And then training, operational, the training, we left the same, everything we left the same to, except for radio maintenance, and I increased that a little bit because we are starting the radios. When I first took over as chief, I got a grant to do the radios. And they are getting older. We did put money in the budget to replace a radio every year in the capital. Just because again, it's with the cruisers for a while, we could get like 2 cars out of a radio before that, taking them out, putting them back in, because we used to do that ourselves. And these just being in the trucks and rattling, and even though they don't get a lot of usage, they just get old. So that's it for that. And then the small equipment repair and maintenance, we are keeping that where it was at, but if you go down, and you guys probably didn't get this, I don't think, so I just to see what.
It's broken out.
Oh, you
in the
did break
budget,
it?
Yeah.
Okay,
did
so
break it
I'm
out,
sorry,
yeah.
I don't have what that looks like, but
Yeah.
what I did was, I wanted just to kind of keep better track.
Copy
of
the
it.
account.
Thank you.
There are 3 line items that say new account,
Mhm.
where that 30,600 is broken out.
Okay, so yeah, thank you, Marco.
Sure.
So again, this is a little bit of a change. So, but it was just kind of for the guys to understand and help them with the budgeting better. Because, you know, back years ago when Phil and Bobby and Mary Lou were all here, they wanted to get rid of all these little separate line items and make as many big items as they could. But we weren't tracking things very well, cause guys would say, oh, we got $36,000 in the budget, I wanna buy this, you know, for 50 or for 25,000, I'm like, that 36, a lot of that's counted for, so. Small equipment testing and service, those are items like, we have hose testing, annual hose testing, air pack flow test, cascade service, gas meter service. And it comes out to around $9,200, so, you know, out of that 36,000 we used to have, or 30,000, sorry, the 9,200 was for that. So I put 19,400 for new equipment, which is kind of what we had started with a few years ago, when I first took over, was 20,000. Because we took on the search and rescue stuff, I added SAR search and rescue, I added consumables because Ben was saying that they do go through a lot of things like the disposable blankets when they go out and do training, heat packs and ice packs. So we put that in at 500, and then SAR new equipment for search and rescue. There's been a little bit of it's not there as much now, but you know, like when they would go to the association, ask for something, and people would say, well, how much in the town budget is there for search and rescue? And I'm like, there isn't, it's all in small equipment I'm sorry, it's all in the equipment line item. So we put 1,500 in, GPSs, you know, for a while we were having to deal with them, but now everybody uses their phones. And the phone actually, there's a new program we're buying back in the dispatching area section of the budget. It's like $900 a year. So that they can tie all the phones, people's cell phones, so like if Scott comes and he's doing search and rescue, he can, you know, be tied in, they can track his phone and see where he is and stuff. And then, so we gave them like 1,500 for if they wanted some new equipment. And then mileage reimbursements, I think we're good. This year we spent a little bit more, and you know, some guys do want to do some different trainings that we talked about, so I was gonna leave that there. So we're up just a little bit on the total of operational. And then the firehouse, you know, again, I guess on electric, I don't understand why the phone went up so much.
Everybody's phone did,
Okay,
Consolidated just,
so Consolidated wants to get rid of phone lines.
yeah, because they have to take care of them.
Right, because they don't like the copper wire. I actually just talked to the Consolidated guy this afternoon. So, okay, so anyways, I upped that. I mean, I know it's a high percentage, but it's not a lot of money. Fuel, I just, you know, we spent 9,000. And again, usually you guys fill in the fuel for me, but I just put a number in there.
We put in 1,000, because we're going off the estimates from what the NIDO bids.
Oh, what did I put in?
I don't remember what we put in.
You, I mean, yeah,
Oh, I put 15.
You had 15,
So you
closer to
cut me.
10.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good job. Good work. And then, see, I saved another 5 right there, folks. And then, the sewer, I don't understand this.
yeah, your sewer bill was high.
Yeah, and I don't know why, and I brought it. And so somebody said, oh, you know, they're filling the flower guy comes along, they fill up the truck 3 or 4 times every other day.
But you have the bypass.
Well, I said, you know what, the bypass went to the hose reel, the hose bib.
Oh,
It didn't go to that, right? But then when I looked after the meeting, I said, no, there's a bypass because there's a new line there. So I don't know why our water is so
that
high.
was outrageously high. What
Yeah,
was it
we
the
paid-
last quarter? 700 something?
It's $700 this year.
Yeah, I'm at
And the
seven-
town office is 90.
Yeah,
That was a 90 something there. It's in
Yeah.
one of these packages. bills,
So we need to follow up with
the north.
try to get a. That's not right.
No, and if we had a leak, like if we had the toilet running, they would tell us, so I don't think it would.
So,
So-
and when you're washing the trucks, that's not being.
No, because there's 2
So then
bypasses.
then there's something wrong, so we need to get a hold of the sewer department. and
But
get
I didn't
credited
know anything
back.
was wrong until a couple days
I
ago
know,
when I got this.
I know, cause you don't see it.
Right, because, and you, like I said,
But if you can, please follow up on that. 'Cause that's.
hope that when I get in my grave, you're ready to jump in it so quick.
Yeah, the police department's wasn't that bad, but yours was a winger on it.
Well, the police department comes over and use my water to do their cruiser.
Oh, now water wars, holy. God help
Well,
us.
anyway,
No.
just contact them to make sure that they're gonna need to come inspect or whatever, and hopefully we can get some money
What?
back. Hopefully we can get some money back. or
It's
figure
the
it out.
highway guys, when they have lunch at the firehouse, they flush 3 times.
Okay, so, anyways.
Maybe they're just taking
Please
showers all the
I don't
time.
need that information.
No, I really don't know, and again, I mean, I get calls and somebody's using 10 gallons an hour at the developments, cause if they're seeing
Yeah.
consistent flow. So I don't know, who gets the calls for the town when a town building,
We get an email, sometimes it comes to me, it says like fire department, there's. There's, I forget what wording they use, but it's like
have you seen it?
excessive, like, I haven't seen it in a long time though,
Yeah,
yeah.
cause I,
We would forward them to you, and then you would say, oh.
Did we, so question about this, the water bill while we're on it. Are we now getting an email on that and not a paper bill?
There's a paper bill in
no, I
here.
got sent a paper bill.
Okay,
too.
so we need to change out that paper bill because we're getting charged $5 extra by getting a paper bill. For
Well-
all so we're getting
Okay.
every year,
That
so,
we can do easy.
so
Well, it's
that's
actually, they give you credit if you get it electronically.
correct.
Yeah.
No, they're charging us $5. I know that they like to say it that way, they're basically charging everyone who's getting a paper bill an extra $5.
Well,
Discount.
so, no, what I see on the bills that come to me electronically, and I get a lot of them, I
Oh,
get
I'm
like
sure.
40 or 50 of them. They show a credit, this one doesn't show the credit, so we would save $10 a year if we.
I'm talking about all the bills. the light
Yeah,
bill,
no,
they
but I
bill,
was saying, I'm only concerned about my budget. Right,
We
you
know that
guys-
you're
you
concerned
guys
only
have-
about your water. and
you have
everything
to-
else
you have
is
to be
used.
the
You
big-
just told me that, Rick.
the
Yes,
big
thank you.
picture. And then building maintenance, we kept that at the same, because we've been able to stay there and Travis has had his people there and he's helped us a lot with stuff that we haven't had to go outside with.
Yeah, so the police department's bill was $235, and the town office was $91.
That's like a flat rate, I think, the 91.
The bottom,
That's
like,
That's like
yeah.
they can't. be
Sewer
less.
Yeah.
fixed charge, that's the minimum they'll charge you.
Why, we don't have a meter here?
We do,
But everybody gets the
Just
sewer
something.
fixed charge,
We
the
use so
91.
little water that we
Yeah,
don't even
just-
meet the minimum.
Well, there was a time when we were way making the minimum here in this building, because it wasn't properly.
yeah.
Yes, so, yeah, this one does seem outrageously high, Rich,
Oh,
for
it did to me too,
six
especially,
hundred and ninety,
it was $700
six
basically.
hundred and $89.37.
So again, if you guys want to, I mean, our first bill was, $400, $350. And so we could definitely drop it down, but again, I just don't know why. So I would hate to drop it down because we do have I don't know if we have 2 bypass meters, I don't know why it's so high. And it's not easy to call the fire district and get somebody anymore.
Well,
Give Bart a call. But,
Just walk right in the front door. They're there.
it's a scary place, I don't have to manage anyone.
Oh my
okay,
God. Scary.
well, because of the 5,000 off from the heating. Fuel, you're only up 4%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was hoping not to even be up that, but, and again, I do, I don't play games with the fuel, for the heating, if. If we only spend 3,000 and say, oh, I got extra 7 I can spend or whatever, and. And again, with the payroll, I think we're gonna be able, we did 2 big increases, cause we didn't really, weren't tracking things very well. And I think, again, now that we've got this new system in place and we got the equipment in place, it's gonna be a lot easier for me to keep track of those. And then I didn't send you the emergency management thing, and I meant to just tell you that just keep everything level funded.
Okay,
Because I wanna try to start buying the
Okay.
jugs, and I wanna start buying MREs and then rotate them every 5 years, because we did try an old 10-year-old MRE for my range, and it was not.
No,
It's
they were
delicious.
very good.
No, it was not even, it was gross.
They were rancid,
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to somebody.
We don't like.
even that, the ends were.
I'm gonna bring it to the fire district.
Here.
Alright, next, no, real quick, next, when are we doing capital budgets?
The 14th, well,
Okay,
well,
you know, when we went and bid this truck out, and we went really bare bones with the truck, and we were a lot higher than our budget, so I think. And because I pushed things out for so long just to be prepared, I gotta start catching up a little bit, so we're gonna. Plus, that ladder truck has always kind of been the elephant in the room. And, you know, it is, we just put tires on it, but it is, you know, we did get the ladder rebuilt, it was gone for a couple years after Irene, but. If it's something that we're gonna have to think about, you know, doing something with. You know, within the next, you know, not my career, not my tenure, but, you know, maybe in some of Scott's tenure. So I just wanna have you think about that.
are you leaving now?
No,
Somebody needs to go down and get Andy, he's now.
I'll get Andy when I leave.
Okay.
Switch
Yeah,
out,
it's
you
storm.
can just switch out with one of them too. They're here.
Thank you.
Department of Work.
Well, the police isn't up till 3:15, so I think he's just here to observe all the,
I'm just soaking it all in.
yes.
Learning from others' mistakes.
Yes.
And highway isn't up till 3, so they both have plenty, and the town clerk will not take a long.
Yes, why is it the only one that was before that you hear?
Dan, yes, he's still in Japan though, and it's 4 AM.
He's probably sleeping right now.
Yeah.
So he muted it.
He's probably sleeping.
I just couldn't hear it.
I know, I kept asking, and
could
like, can you
speak.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
I'm alive and well.
He's here.
Hi,
Hi,
Hi.
how are you folks?
we're fine. How are you?
Good. So, pretty basic, unexciting stuff. Salaries for myself and Jeanette, whatever you come up with for a cost of living raise for the other folks in the office. BCA and election officials, so. I'm reducing that because there's no election next year from 3,000 to 2,000. However, I would like to run this by you. So every year we vote at town meeting. The article for my salary and select board salaries and everybody else, right? My ballot clerks fall under everybody else, which is minimum wage. I would like to up that. These folks are integral to running elections in Dover. They show up every election. And they stay for 13 to 14 hours that day. It's hard to get people who can do this or are willing to do this. There's plenty of younger folks want to do it, but you know, they have jobs, they can't guarantee they're there every election. Once these people are trained, they're invaluable. I think minimum wage is too little. It's not a huge expense, given that elections don't happen very often. We're talking about town meeting and state elections every couple of years. I don't know what's appropriate, but we vote our town auditors at $21.40 an hour. Chairman of boards, minimum wage plus $1.50. I'm thinking, you know, $20 an hour is not unreasonable for what these folks do for the town. I'd be happy with 18. I just wanted you to think about it. It doesn't necessarily impact the budget. I always put in enough to cover this, but whatever.
Question, what do other towns do?
Good question. I
That's
can look
the main
into that.
articles.
Good question.
That would be good.
All right. Will do.
And it really isn't such a big impact this particular year coming, because we're only gonna basically have town meeting and maybe some other stray thing that might, but
Right.
no primary and no
Right.
general, you know.
Right.
November election. So-
Right, and even in a year when you do have your state elections and whatnot, what we're talking about is.
Yeah.
13 to 14 hours.
And how many?
One
people?
day.
6. There's 6.
So typically I have 2 on the entrance checklist and 2 on the exit checklist. Sometimes I have another, you know, if it's a big election like this past one, I'll need some more people involved. But we're talking about 4 to 6 people. 10 to 14 hours
13,
a year, basically,
year.
but that's not
$330.
true. Yeah,
But it makes me think about where maybe we should bring everything up a little in terms of all of the board members. I mean,
perhaps, right,
you know, minimum wage is pretty low
Right.
compared to some of the work some of these groups
that's
are putting in.
correct, yeah.
So,
I agree.
Maybe we ought to rethink the whole thing and make it a little more realistic. Yeah, you know,
Right. So I wanted to mention that it's not gonna change my budget figure. I'm
Okay.
asking for $2,000 for that, and that's got some cushion in there. You never know. COVID has me scared, you know, sometimes you need people you need to adapt and overcome. Let's see, but it's going down from 3,000 to 2,000. Then BCA election and expense unlevel funding at $3,000. Again, because you never know when you need that disposable cash to buy plexiglass or who knows what. You know, Peak gave us the base lodge for town meeting. Free of charge. Who knows what would happen next time, should we need to look for a bigger venue. Okay, so, but that's level funded, and my town clerk expense is level funded. And I just have no idea what the real estate market's doing, or, you know, COVID, I mean, we doubled our recording volume and now we're back down to a normal-ish level, but. You know, I was just talking to Chris Cady, he said it feels like COVID again, as he's busy as he can be, so I don't know. So I just level funded it, it worked last year, it'll work this year. And there you go,
there you go,
right on.
there you go. All right, and I think everybody should really think about that. I mean, I agree that they should get more money. I mean, that's a ridiculous length of day and, but I think maybe everybody should get a little more, and it is not a big drain on the budget to make people at least have $15 an hour plus or whatever, and because that's at least what you should do.
I agree, Vicky, and it's easy to take these folks for granted, I know I do sometimes, and I really should. But when I think about what they do and what I would do without them, they're so valuable, these people, and a lot of the other boards as well. Anyways, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just clarify what you're saying, like other, what can we?
Like it says other board members, so like the planning commission, the DRB, all of these. They're only getting minimum wage, and if they're the chair, they get the extra $1.50. That's it. So that's what I'm talking about, other boards that meet and people put in their hours and they get paid, and that is a very minimal amount, you know. I don't know, you're the chair of the DRB, you tell me.
Nobody's doing it for the money,
Mhm.
but it's nice for people to feel appreciated.
Mhm.
And I think if we go to, if minimum's 1367 now.
Yeah.
That's what it looks
Yeah.
like on the.
That's what it was on the warrants, yeah.
So there,
Oh,
so
wow.
if it goes up to 14. And we pay people 20, that's $6 an hour. I don't think the DRB has more than. What, not even 100 hours a year total between all the board members. So. You know, and the planning commission is not gonna be meeting as often as it was.
Yes,
Um,
but now we've made another committee, I don't know,
Are we
are we
paying?
paying the water?
I didn't-
WTF?
I didn't think we were,
No.
just like we're not paying trails,
Right,
so,
they are committees, they're not boards.
No.
right,
And I get that, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
What the understanding was.
although
Okay.
I will suggest we think about for the water board, that we think about some sort of a stipend for Patrick as the chair, because he is doing
Yeah.
huge heavy lifting on that.
I would agree with that.
So that's a conversation for another day, but something
Right.
just to bring up if we're gonna talk about.
Right.
Sure.
Right. Yes,
If we gave him $2,000 a year, he'd be making like $1.75.
Oh, you mean kind of like what we do?
Speaking of that, next,
He would be one of us.
next.
Alright, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Fine.
Good food for thought. No, we have the next
Highway
one,
next.
highway is next.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Okay.
Good.
Okay, let me get to the highway. And get to highway. Okay. Travis, let's start with wages, it's right at the top of the list.
Okay,
And
What-
Marco has informed me $1.50 across the board is what you're looking for?
that's what I'm looking for, yes, please.
Yes, which equates to approximately 5%.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
yep,
And so that
He said he-
everybody moves up equally.
that's what, yeah, that, he said, when I left the other day, he had to figure that out, but, yeah.
Yeah, it's in now.
Okay, perfect.
Forgot to call you back.
No, it's fine, yeah.
Came out.
How is your crew?
Good,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't believe you're saying that. I mean, I'm happy you're saying that,
Yeah.
but usually you're like.
Yeah, no, it's good, and, you know, I know a lot of other towns around are
Struggling.
pretty, they will be, they're like I know Wilmington's gonna have 2 openings next year, they're adding a maintenance position and. You know, and another guy's retiring and, you know, so that's why I wanna try to keep my guys, cause there's, you know, and Whitingham is. They're all paying big money, over 30, everybody.
In Whitingham?
Uh-huh.
In Whitingham.
Whitingham, yeah, yeah, Marshall is. Yeah, I don't know.
But I know I just had an ad for Halifax Road Crew,
Yeah.
you know, there's,
There's people out there that are really, yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but yes, we're at full staff and pretty happy with everybody.
I'm not hearing grumbling or rumblings.
No, it's been pretty good, so. Yeah,
and how's your new hire and CDL going?
he has taken the test for a permit a couple times, he failed, but we're gonna keep working with him,
Okay,
so,
the,
but
it-
yeah.
Is it driving or written?
yeah,
Uh,
is it written or driving, which part of it or both?
oh, it's a written test.
It
or
is.
it's a- Yeah, he goes to the DMV and on the computer.
And how does he drive? I mean, is it,
Well,
I mean,
he can't drive
I know,
until
but
he
you're
gets
the,
the permit,
oh, you can't even get the permit.
right, it's a
Oh,
permit,
oh,
it's
oh,
for the
oh.
permit test.
Oh.
Yeah, so he can't do any driving until he
Is-
gets the
So
permit.
you can't even drive, no, he
No.
can
Not even
observe.
like driver's ed.
But he's gotta, you know, we've been working with him on the book a little bit here and there and
Aren't you the one that gets the test?
no, I can drive with him and help him log his hours. But only after he gets his permit, his
It's
learning
like
permit.
it's like a learner's permit for a
It's like
teenager.
yes,
You have to have that.
he's gotta get the learner's
you know.
permit, which is an online thing at the DMV, and then I can train him. And then once I log all of his hours in the Federal Motor Carriers website
Sure.
and sign off on that,
Yeah.
then he then has to go take the test, a driving test like you would
Yeah.
for your license. He's gotta do the pre-trip and the driving test, and he's good to go. The
Okay.
only thing that I can do is help train him for his test and log the hours that the Federal Motor Carrier says that
Wait,
he needs to
You
achieve
can help tutor
before.
him for his exam to get the permit.
Yeah, yes, so we're in that step right now.
Is there anything to having the test administered orally?
No, and the test he can have people help him at the DMV if he needs, you know,
Okay,
there is help available, they make that
Cause I
pretty
know there
clear.
are some people that when they test
Yes,
written, there's
Yep.
a lot of issues, but if they hear the questions, they tend to be. able
right,
to
they
do
have
better.
people that can read the questions to you or help you out with your reading and comprehension, yes. That stuff is available to help you.
Okay.
Yep.
well, hopefully that will continue to
Yep.
move forward. Okay,
Um,
overtime, you left the same.
Yep, overtime I left the same, last couple of years, we've been very fortunate, and I think we can make do with that again, so, yeah. And I didn't change anything until we got down to the roads column, I think, we didn't change anything in highway equipment, did we? Echo? I don't have it here on my sheet.
They look the
we-
same.
Parts and tires.
Parts and tires, we went to 100.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
That's, that's basically the tires, the biggest thing. For all the trucks that we have, I've got them on a rotation, we go every other year, a vehicle gets new tires, and certain ones do and certain ones don't, so.
So I don't think you were here when we were talking about fuel. We're gonna ask for a report so we can see where we are checking to,
Sure.
like, basically 6 months check to make
Yeah.
sure we're in a good place and so we know that we're budgeting the right numbers.
Yeah.
In December, I'll have you
Do a report.
run a report.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Then,
I need
then,
my internet though to,
It's still.
you don't have
still
internet
problem.
now?
and that system that does the computer doesn't. Cause
Yeah, cause we went for
high speed.
fiber up there,
Fiber, yeah.
but there's an issue getting this hooked up. We'll have to look at that.
And once that is corrected, then I can do all those reports, cause that system
Access the.
connects to the Wi-Fi and it logs all the fuel data into
Oh,
my computer
oh,
via the Wi-Fi connection
uh-huh,
that I don't have right now,
okay,
but. Yeah,
okay,
I can when I get the internet, yeah,
all right.
not a problem.
For how long?
Had them go up, they went up.
They went
about
up
2
in
months after.
August. I
Yeah,
think.
about a month or two after the transfer station was
Yep.
done.
Mhm.
And the transfer station is good, it's obviously working.
Yeah.
We have to just troubleshoot that.
Yeah,
So we're troubleshooting and not the internet company?
Is it,
Well, somebody has to call the 800 number and then you do it. Sit there
Yeah.
and,
It's-
so it's.
I sat on hold for over an hour one day,
what company is this?
consolidated or
Well,
video
Fidium.
fiber.
Fidium.
It's the
Fidium.
same, yeah. Yeah.
We're using Fidium up there.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, no, so, huh?
Don't use anything.
No, we have.
Well, I mean, everything's lit
It's a
up.
separate
Right.
line.
Yeah, it's a separate
Two
line to
separate
the,
lines. So he was having trouble with his Wi-Fi on the old platform.
Yep.
So after the landfill, we had
I know exactly.
fiber,
He has,
but he's having trouble with.
you have the big black box.
I do
need a
now.
smaller box, cause I have the same system
got
at
that.
my house.
Mhm.
And it's still not working, so you have the
This-
two different systems.
Everything's lit up, everything, but nothing is connected.
You know what I mean by, you have two different,
Yeah,
cause some of the older stuff won't go through the new box, you have to have, for older stuff, you have another.
Yeah.
Cause I have two things that don't work. On the new big black box, I
Yeah.
have to get another box, so you have this, it's still not working.
no,
No one's had.
They're
time to-
usually pretty good.
I know.
I've not had any issues with them, I have a couple of applications, so. I have a few of them.
Okay,
Either way,
All right,
yes,
good
I
luck.
can do any of those reports you need,
Yeah.
because everything is sent. Through my computer, through that, I can print out individual
okay,
usage, whatever.
You have internet on your laptop up there, right? You have Wi-Fi,
Yeah, I'm supposed to.
but it's not, your Wi-Fi's not working?
He
No,
plugs in.
no, I'm in it right now.
all right,
It's temporary, we're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on
Or Kathy, she's the IT person, right?
okay, hi, you said roads,
it. Road construction. I didn't go up in the road construction, but the bridge construction I did, because I felt like. We might need some of that for. Help out. With the Snow Lake
hopefully gonna
culvert
get,
thing,
hopefully gonna
up
get
there.
that grant,
right? But
mean-
I am also waiting on a hydraulic study to come back from. For a culvert possible structure on Jockey Hollow. So I might need
okay,
to spend some of that for engineering on that project, so that's why that got bumped up,
okay,
all right?
Salt went up.
Culverts was the next one that went up, right?
Yeah.
30.
Culverts, guardrail.
Yep. Culverts
Went to 30 from
went to
25.
30. Guardrails and signs,
So you're over budget already in culverts for the year.
yeah,
You're over 25,000, you're 25,500.
Yep.
So do you envision more culverts this spring?
for the next year,
No, for this
for this
fiscal
year, no,
Okay,
no, nothing else for this year.
okay.
I placed the order and then we just get the whole truckload and we use what we use and the rest is.
You got
at our
our
shop.
culverts, I drove up there yesterday.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
got a boatload of, you got a boatload of dirt up there too.
Okay,
We're ready.
we ready.
Something happens.
Guardrails and signs, those are always going up, the signage and the guardrail use stuff. I've got an area on Blue Brook, since we've paved it, I might wanna throw up a section of guardrail, so I put in a little extra for that.
you haven't used much of that,
Right,
you're only at 4%.
Yeah.
Almost 5, but.
Yeah.
If someone goes and dings and messes up the guardrail, are they accountable for replacing that? If they catch them?
yes,
Catch 'em.
if we can get it depends, like, when the police report comes out and then. Usually then I have to get an estimate and give it to Mike or an officer and then they can send it all in with the report and then the insurance companies reach out and then it's a, yes, we have gotten reimbursements before, we have gotten.
We got
we have-
money for the truck on.
Yep.
to Pay for that.
Yep,
Okay.
but not
Okay, yeah,
every
right.
time, no,
Okay.
yeah, sometimes it is a loss, yeah. And then the salt,
Well, let's back up. Line painting, you're over budget this year. You've spent $20,000. Do you think that we ought to increase that to 20,000?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
I think we should.
Yes,
Get that
because
moving.
next year when we do. Our paving. There'll be more blacktop next year,
So we need more than probably 2,000, probably 22.
22 sounds
What
fine,
about the chances of putting the lines down like in April? We have them during the summer.
I would love that too, actually.
It's pretty sketchy.
I would love that too, rather than having them come in October,
Correct.
but it's hard to get anybody, there's only those two companies, you know.
And they
One's
wanna do a
literally-
bunch at one time.
Yeah, one's literally double the price of the other. And it's super hard to get them, cause everybody's
I like it.
all taken up by state jobs.
I
Yeah,
like that they come in the middle of the night though, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we painted until, cause I ride around with them, I hop right in the line truck with them and show them, hey, we're gonna do this.
Oh, good.
We're gonna do that, this is where we have a break in the line, everything. We painted until 3 o'clock in the morning that night, and then a couple weeks ago, I came out and met with them to do the crosswalks and arrows and all the stuff.
all right, so 22?
Yep, that sounds fine.
You got that,
Got
Martha? Okay,
Yep.
all right, now we can go to salt.
Yep, salt. So I upped that quite a bit because when we go to look at our paving plan in the capital paving, a lot or all of it, if I remember correctly, on our paving this year is new
New
paving.
So that's
I
new.
believe-
New roads.
New areas that need salt.
Kevin Stein is not gonna like that.
Poor Kevin.
Why wouldn't he like that? A&R loves it.
Haven't you
Lesser
guys
roads
listened to
in.
him?
Why we put the big rock
Kevin
ditches
would-
in now
Kevin
or
would be happy if
clean
we
water
tore
for
up
the
whole
fish?
things.
Yeah.
They keep the trout going.
Yeah.
That's why we're putting box culverts.
Now you're
in.
teasing us
Climb
about
up.
who's gonna be.
Yeah,
What roads
well,
are, you're,
there's quite a few.
more finished Blue Brook?
Not finish it, that's another segment, so it'll be from
The
where we
second
left
quarter.
off, yep, the
Mhm.
second. Quote to that would go up to a meek. So that would include that, and then someday Jones Ridge, I believe the Villager Loop is on that to make that whole. And I'm not sure if Stuger's on there, but I know it's in there somewhere. If it's
Wow.
not this year, it's next year, but.
We'll just have to wait till December. to-
So that's why I upped the salt so much for the following year, cause our paving plan has a lot
So
of,
we get more, so we're getting less and less dirt roads?
we are. Yes. And, you know, like we had talked a couple years ago at the town meeting there,
Or-
about paving some of these short sections that don't get the high volume of traffic. By paving it. It will, low maintenance. Because the volume of traffic is so low, once it's paved. You're basically set,
Mhm.
you know, so.
You said Blue Brook section.
Yep.
Villager,
Jones
Jones
Ridge.
Ridge,
Loop, yep.
Sugar.
Jones Ridge,
Yep, Jones Ridge.
someday,
someday,
yep, someday was only 500,
yeah.
600 feet, yeah, that was short. And that's another one that's in full sunlight, so like that one, you should hardly have to salt. You scrape it off, it's dark, it'll melt itself right out. But,
Okay,
And there's what, like 5 houses?
yeah.
Yeah.
what else?
you're up to maintenance 5 then. Oh, no, a level on maintenance.
Trucking and material was one that we added in.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason this got added is because of last year, we were so over on the sand. And the reason we were, that is the exact reason we were so over on the sand. Is if you take that 50,000 or 55,000 out of the sand. We were actually on par with the price of the sand of the material, but it was the trucking that threw that budget way out. So that's why I'm asking for the trucking to be covered. Because we have a different vendor truck it than the person that we're purchasing from.
55,000, holy moly.
Yeah.
So you're talking about be the trucking side of it,
Just for trucking of materials.
Material delivery.
Yep,
but we wouldn't be using our trucks.
Nope, we don't anyway.
Well, what do I see the trucks hauling now?
Well, that's gravel.
Just gravel.
It doesn't make sense for us to.
The sand, I don't wanna burn off our studded snow tires that we spent so much on. You know, I don't want the trucks out of town. If we get a snow squall come through, I don't want them off getting our sand. If I've made out of, you know, we've made out a good arrangement, or I have made out a good arrangement with Sir Sosimo. They're looking to keep their dump trucks going through the winter, and they give us a decent rate, and we buy our sand here at this rate, and so I just need to get the trucking covered. Last,
So. I'm gonna ask, so sand, we haul it throughout
they bring it progressively as I need it.
so do we have any place to stock a large pile? Is it freeze or?
It's full right now, and it's.
Okay,
It's, yes, if we have an easy start to the winter, we'll go through the first of the year, and then, you know, after the first of the year, generally I call and say, okay. You can start the sand coming, I'll truck it slowly and keep up with us. And then if they get caught up, I shut them down, and then, you know, if we get a big storm or a big ice storm comes in, I
so
call.
where is the sand coming from these days?
It's coming from, the sand that I've been purchasing is coming out of Lane in Northfield, Mass.
Okay, so we're hiring Sosimo to haul sand out of lanes.
So we get an invoice for sand
Mm-hmm.
at a certain rate picked up in the pit. And then we get a trucking invoice by the hour from Sosimo.
So you know where I'm going. So, no, if he doesn't know.
I don't know where you're going.
So wouldn't it be more effective? There's just like a lot of. Have we put this out to bid or,
No, it doesn't get put out to bid.
so it sounds like a pretty large purchase of trucking.
Yeah.
That there's other vendors out there that might want to,
There is, yes, and generally I look into them.
you don't want to look into them?
Yes, I have. I've talked to Zaluzny about the price delivered for the material. Yes. And I also have to take into consideration being able to get it on call as needed. That is a thing that we've had with Sir Sosimo since like the
Forever.
Bill Bartlett days, like forever.
Well,
They've been they have trucked our sand to this town since
And they're close,
You
I mean,
guys
you
could-
you need them, they had their trucks in Northfield and.
that, when I call, they're there.
Mhm.
Other trucking companies might have been reserved for somebody that had put their sand out to bid at a certain rate for so much. And they might have already said, nope, we're taking care of our people that are on this contract and that's it. So,
I'm just gonna,
yeah,
I'm gonna explain a little bit more.
yeah,
So Sosamos goes to Northfield,
yeah,
then they come here,
yep,
and then they triangle back.
yep.
If we had a truck that was here, that was going there and back and forth from closer to our area, I would think it'd be a lot less. Correct.
Well,
they're-
their Sosimo trucks are in Vernon.
Yeah.
It's right up the road from Northfield.
Right, so they're gonna go right back, if they need to
They're-
get another load, they'll go
they're
right back to
leaving-
Northfield.
They're leaving from,
I'm gonna second guess you on that. I agree with you on the on-call stuff, but I still think. You know, we should see if there's a. Less, I mean, what are they charging us per, are they charging us per load?
no, it's by the hour.
Well, maybe it would
Sounds
be
like-
a good idea to put it out for bid to see what's out there
Yeah, hey,
You can.
for next year.
you're just-
Maybe,
You can.
And
The
most
thing of
towns
it is
do.
though, once, yes, most towns do, and. Once you do that,
tell
you're
us
stuck with that sand.
whether it's.
If you don't like it, like, if we say.
no, I'm not saying about stuck with it, we're getting the
Well,
sand
you-
from the
you-
pit. Same pit, just a different truck.
Oh, yeah, I can hire anybody we want for trucks, if you wanna hire somebody at a different rate, then, oh, absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
talking about getting sand from
So-
somewhere else, I'm talking about, right
Oh,
now,
yeah,
you said
no,
we're
we-
paying separate for the truck and the sand, correct?
Yeah, and
we're
if you,
Paying them by the hour,
yeah,
so my key concern is. Not to take away from Sosamo,
No.
I believe they're,
oh, there are
Higher
other truckers
price.
out there to will, yes,
so I think there's a lot of other truckers that
Oh,
will be looking
yes.
for. A
yes,
steady thing that I'm gonna bring sand to the
Yes.
town, that we could be paying a less hourly.
exactly. Yeah, no, there is, cause I've talked to Dan Boyd and his trucks. You know, I've gotten an hourly rate from them before, because that's how I know what we're getting for a deal from Sosimo. I've reached out to other trucking companies about moving
So
sand.
you're
for us.
saying Sosamo's giving us a good rate per hour.
They are.
That's what you.
And the
Keep their-
sand is the quality you want.
The sand
Yeah,
is
but
the
it's not
quality
the
we
same.
want,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
We're
now,
paying
so
separately.
we have two different,
Yeah, I thought you mentioned, I thought you were talking about.
No, I'm talking about just the truck.
Yeah, okay, yes, yes, absolutely, yeah, I have been totally open to hiring other trucks, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
okay,
So they're giving you a separate, different kind of deal to keep the truckers,
to keep their trucks going through the winter,
and it's
yes,
worked out well. So
yeah,
the
it's
other
worked out
people,
well for both parties.
we don't need to have the hourly rate listed, because that wouldn't.
Right. Right,
Or anyone else.
Right.
I have to get my-
but that's why we added in that trucking of the material,
okay.
because
Yep.
that's what threw me so far over budget in the sand last
see
year.
that,
You
and
can
I-
see
And
that,
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking,
yes.
we may have, some small. Some less sand needs next
Some
winter.
less sand needs, but also we're starting out with a very full pile this year.
Okay,
And the price, if it's sitting in our pile, the price isn't gonna go up.
right,
I-
but my point is, last year it was 137,000.
Yes.
You're planning 140,
Yeah, between
between the
95.
two,
Between the two,
is that enough?
yes,
Okay, all right, and
Yes.
that was my
yes,
question,
yep,
you know,
yep.
we're
I
not
mean,
really paying.
provided, I mean, you know, probably you don't get an ice storm like 2008 or whatever, but yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
all right,
and like I said, we're starting out with a full pile
Yeah.
that, you know, has already been purchased at that rate. Yes,
okay. And then you went up on maintenance,
maintenance.
no, you said level
Yeah,
70,
Yep, that's
Sorry.
right, yep,
okay. And now the garage, everything is equal,
yep,
oh. So. This says it's down 0.6, -6%,
Well, because we didn't put the healthcare.
Oh, that's not in there yet. Okay, so all of these are,
Yeah, they're pre-healthcare.
okay,
So
But
we,
the healthcare is in the
Pre-healthcare
town, right?
decision,
Or is it not in here yet?
nothing's in there.
each department has their own budget for healthcare.
So we haven't
Till
added
we know
that.
Yeah,
number.
until we know, yeah.
Yeah,
So we can't get excited about that -60.
no, no,
Not
no.
yet.
I was like, there's no way. How could this have gone down? There's no way.
But he did have a nice surplus last year,
Yes,
60,000. And the town had about. Actually about 220.
yeah, and yeah, you gave me that
Yeah,
accounting yesterday. But yeah. And so could be some money that we could move. Anything else, Travis?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
do we, is the. Transfer station on, is that a capital one?
transfer station,
station.
we put,
You wanna do that?
Yeah, I want to.
Joanna?
That's his favorite project.
I like the fact we have 2 demo dumpsters,
Mhm.
but I didn't like the fact that I went there, they're both full.
They're always full.
Really?
Let's see. That's when you.
pretty much kept, we've level funded most of it, but it looks like salaries are up 5%, but it's really 3%. From what the current attendant is making per hour. I think there's some crossover between
What numbers are we looking at?
transfer station.
I know, but but
Solid
Station salaries, solid
The end
waste.
of police.
oh, it's the end of police, okay,
Yep.
okay.
We kind of left everything the same, except we added a couple of line items for trucking in there as well, so that this coming year we can track some of our trucking expenses separate from the tipping fees. And the tire disposal, I'd like to start tracking some of that as well, because that's paid to Wyndham Solid Waste. And I'm curious to see what
You truck the tires.
we truck the tires, yeah, but the disposal basically is what we're paying Wyndham Solid Waste to get rid of the tires. Basically, that would be what that line item was for.
The charges per tire, right?
No, it's per ton. That's why I moved them inside, out of the rain, remember?
Yeah.
Remember I told you, we're gonna put them inside, out of the rain, so we're not paying to get rid of water and ice when the tires are full of snow.
That's right,
Yes.
that's a good thing.
Yep.
Drill holes in them.
Drill holes in 'em. Oh, God.
Well, if we're disposing of them, who cares if they have?
And it's good if there's ice and
But-
water in the metal dumpster.
But yes, that's why I
It's
put the
paid by
tire dumpster in underneath the cover. And the new demo box is outside beside the metal box.
You ought to drive there.
Yeah.
Must be good. What do you actually do? You have to like throw the tires in the truck?
We grab, no,
That's good.
we use the backhoe with the thumb, just load up the little trucks and set them down. Not a problem. They just drive across the scales down there and then bring them out back and dump them.
So you're.
No, but that's why,
Oh, okay.
that's why we got the line item, so I can,
It would be good to find out, because there's.
yes, they can get paid out of the operational, but we can code them to the.
We could find someone to take the tires for less and pick them up, we don't have to bring them there, right?
Yeah,
You
if
don't
we
have to
wanted
pay
to
for
find
it.
somebody else to take them, but I don't know what I'm spending to get rid of them, you know what I mean?
know.
So that's why we added it, so we can track it.
Yes,
Hmm.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, our transfer station numbers are not good.
They're not good, but I can tell you. After talking with Kevin Stein and everything else with Wyndham Solid Waste District. Dover is being treated very fairly by Casella on the tipping fees and the trucking. Wyndham Solid Waste did a study. They did a study on all the,
So
all the
everyone's paying
towns.
different. Is what you're telling me.
everybody's paying different.
That's
Except
just,
for
that's,
Dover, and I'm
That's how you
I'm
want.
grateful for that, I guess, so to speak, so I don't really wanna.
But it should,
What's the zip?
I don't wanna-
What's it?
I know.
I don't even wanna.
Yep,
No, because
Yeah.
now it is public, but
We
you
are-
should bring it up, it shouldn't be that way. But it is what it is, though. I mean, I guess.
have that report, if you guys.
Well, the other thing too is each town is a different distance. So in theory, you know, you have to do it by mileage as opposed to time or whatever.
Okay, I don't know how they, that's up to Casella, I don't know how they.
Okay.
Usually
Maybe it's 'cause we pay
It's a
for it.
flat rate.
So, transfer station expenses. Budgeted 85 last year, 85 this year,
Yeah.
we're at 42 right now, which is 49.6%. Are you good with that number?
I mean,
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
we're not,
we're not halfway through
we're
yet,
not halfway through,
and we're almost halfway there.
yeah.
Um. Thinking bringing up around 100
I think that
or. not
90 or
Yeah,
90,
Yeah,
I hate to go up, but I wanna be realistic.
yeah,
Where's that number?
Now, that is the cost of
Top line
disposal.
85?
yeah, that's,
That, make that 90?
it's the
Yeah.
expense one, right?
90.
Yeah, the
So
nine,
what's
yeah,
included in the
Is it-
expense?
So that would be a lot, that's your tipping fees, that's your,
Right.
and your trucking, it has been your trucking too.
Correct.
Now you wanna see it.
and now our
That's
assessment,
why I
our
was-
assessment went up too.
The what?
I thought our assessment went up from Wyndham Solid Waste.
So it's gonna be per person?
Town assessment, just what they charge you,
Taking into account the money we take in as well,
that would be in the revenue side of it.
Yeah,
so it's really gonna cost us.
and we'll know that more next year too, with the tracking system, yeah.
Revenue. so,
I'm just
yeah.
wondering
Yeah.
what net, like how much is our,
Take in 100 and some thousand between tipping and.
we take in,
transfer station
Recycling fee, or well,
Yeah.
other fees,
No, we take it for money.
That we revenue in
and it costs us in.
Well, cost 35 doesn't include the salary.
salaries and.
Yeah, right.
I just wanted, yeah, should be the fees then.
With these, I stopped
I
and talked to
I
Brad.
thought our assessment went up, I thought Kevin sent something around,
Have it somewhere.
For the assessment,
yes. Right, well, we can check that,
Yeah.
yeah, Jeanette will check that,
Yeah.
just to make sure that
Okay.
it's okay. And.
Should still look at outsourcing.
Or-
The entire
And-
transfer station.
other than that, I think it's okay.
Okay,
Honestly,
yeah, she'll check it.
Yep.
3292 is the, oh, I'm sorry, this is VLCT.
Mhm.
Sorry, wrong one.
Okay,
right?
all right,
One for them.
all right,
Thank you.
police department. Thank you.
What did we put this number to?
Huh? 90,
90.
Yeah. 50% off.
we only have 6 weeks left though. To be halfway. Better. Okay,
All right.
Mike, let me get to police. Let me get. This is all here. Day. Let me get what is here too. All right. Let's roll,
All right,
let's roll.
starting from the top, I guess.
Mhm.
So as you can see, I'm looking for 10 on payroll. I'm pretty sure everyone here's seen what's happened just south of us recently.
You mean as reported in the Griffin Valley News?
That is where I saw it now. Reputable source that it is. But I was just in a meeting with some other local chiefs and they're all bumping everything pretty good this year too, we're looking to. Bennington, Winhall. Brattleboro, everybody is, and then to stay on pace. At least try to stay on pace. I actually drew up this for 15% too, but 10 is what I'm proposing. And asking.
So we're not, there's no change in hours, that's strictly rate
An increase. Because Wilmington just went, and they did it immediately,
17,
yes.
yeah, and I don't know if,
How are they gonna stay within their budget? That is insanity.
I don't know where they're getting the money, and I also don't know if they are looking to do cost of living increase. For their fiscal year too, because they did this in the middle of the year.
I know.
It could be even more, but just for. Again, they're the closest apples to apples, you know, we could talk about the differences
Right.
between us and Bennington and whoever else, but apples to apples. They have an officer that's worked for 5 years getting paid more than my sergeant. Not just a little bit.
Well, Travis just said that Whitingham's
Mhm.
highway crew is,
So, you know,
30.
I've got a couple guys that I could be worried about being poached, and I got a couple guys that I could be worried about retiring earlier. If they're not getting what they feel they need, so.
so you said that you proposed potentially 15%.
I have the numbers drawn up for.
But
15
what,
minutes.
Do you think that this is a good number?
I think it's a fair number. I mean, I would fight for 15 all day, I think 10 is. Going to get us closer to where we need to be competitive and not to, you know, again. I almost don't want to bring up the subject, but we've created a culture here where people want to work here.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, that's great for recruitment, I'm sure that's great for retention, but it's only gonna go so far. When you're seeing people with much less experience getting paid much more. So even if that doesn't mean going to get that job, it just means leaving this one.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't want people to leave.
I don't want anybody to leave.
Um,
We have a good crew, they're all happy here, and I'm pretty sure town's happy and the people are happy with what we have. But to stay competitive,
right.
I think 10 is a fair. If you guys wanna do more, we can talk about more, but again.
No, I just wanna have a frank discussion about
So,
it in terms of, we'd love to do more, we can't,
I hear,
you know,
yeah.
and
when you look at the numbers for 10, it puts us. Just under where we were 2 years ago for the salary too,
right,
and I don't think we have a significantly. Less valuable police department,
I would agree with you.
so than we did 2 years ago, so last year saved a little bit of money because of transitioning and everything else, but I think we're on course. And I think we need to stay. Competitive.
All right,
Are we talking about doing just a straight 10% increase, or are we talking about doing a dollar amount, fixed dollar amount per
I just-
person plus an increase?
I just did the 10%.
Okay.
and again,
Again,
this is up to Mike, you know, he's got that.
We
pool of
just
money.
give him the number. he
Yes.
decides
Yes,
how to
that
allocate.
you-
So there may be some wiggle room depending on what people's needs are and where I feel that people need to
Right.
be based on their training.
But in general.
But 10%, I'm looking for 10% in that budget line.
Yeah, that's what he's looking at. And honestly, your salary right now, you're good. I mean, for this year, you're at 192, which is 39%.
Yep.
With 6 weeks basically left in this half of the
Right.
fiscal year.
So the other, I don't know.
And then the expense, but there's more overtime and everything during ski season, right?
Theoretically, yeah, but some of those numbers were. Yeah, 30. And the other thing, I don't know what Marco gave you guys based on what I gave him, but so like when we look at the on-call. And the shift differentials, those are the maxes.
Yeah, I gave whatever you gave me.
Yeah, okay, but you said.
Yeah, you're on call right now is $1,500 basically.
Right, so those are the maxes that it could possibly be.
So that's,
That I'm putting in, so
Okay.
those will typically be a little bit less, but I'm putting in the max because, you know, it could be that much.
Yep.
And then the holidays and overtime. That is what it is, I'm guessing at that, so I just raised that 10% too.
okay.
So again, I'm more than open, you know, at 15, just to throw it out there. It would be that top line item number would be 566,000. At 15. Which I would love to give everybody. And I think it would make everyone very happy, I think. I'm presenting 10 and letting you guys make your decision.
Okay,
Not my decision, it's the voters' decision.
Well,
yeah.
your
We just
decision on
present.
what to present to
We
the
present.
voters.
So which one to put our neck out on,
Correct.
you know?
Well, again, you know, I feel like we've created a department that people can count on.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions about the police department payroll?
What's the outside employment for the actual was,
That's what we get paid.
Oh.
It's one of those weird things that every year 5,000 gets put in there. Because we use that account to pay and then get reimbursed by outside employment. So if we work at Mount Snow or if we work a DUI grant that's paid for by Government Highway Safety, that's the line item that's used. So it's a wash. It should always balance.
Yeah, the revenue is brought in on the.
so we see it on the revenue side.
Yeah, so
it
like
just ends
year
up
to
being-
date, on that,
nets
we're
out
at
zero.
44 right now.
Right.
So we've seen 44 back.
Yeah.
No,
So it ends up being a
What?
net zero.
I've
Because
never
we-
understood why we
money-
put 5,000 in there, other than just cover the cost for a week until we get reimbursed. I don't know. I don't know why.
Okay.
But yeah, that should be a wash
yeah,
at the end of the year.
okay. Vehicles,
Vehicles, so the equipment, radio maintenance, I dropped that a bit, because over the years, we haven't been using much of that. Back in the day when we had the exterior lights and older bulbs, stuff added up with all the new LED and interior lights. It's mainly radio maintenance when something's wrong, and that's a crapshoot when those things are gonna need some work, so. I thought about bumping it down even more, but I think it's safe to keep it there. And then the fuel, I have no idea.
so we're gonna hopefully get some,
And then the parts, I went up because we have another cruiser on the road, as you can see, I don't know what you guys have. If it's more up to date than mine, but year to date, I'm already at 8,800.
yeah,
And, so when we went to a new garage with the cruisers, we had to play catch up a little bit on some maintenance that wasn't as up to date as we thought it may have been. So that we needed a lot of work on all the cruisers. And
so
unfortunately,
where are you going now?
we're at Crawford's.
I thought I saw some cruises
Yeah,
there.
so that's who we're using. And it's been great. They've again caught some things that were problematic that needed to be fixed, including both the sedans. The reason we're at that 88, both sedans needed $2,500 worth of exhaust work. Just from not being able to deal with the roads around here. Salt.
How old are the sedans?
They're the next two to go. So 4 and 5 years.
Good to know that have an exhaust on.
Okay.
So that's why that went up, and that's why we're gonna be over this year. We just bought tires. I don't know if you guys are seeing the tires, probably not. So it's actually more than that, 88 already. But moving on, office supplies are kind of level. We're good with that. The next one I increased a bit because we were not properly accounting for the new super duper copier we have in the office that we've had for a couple of years now. It's about $85 a month is the lease price, and then $400 or so a year for maintenance agreement. So you add that up, and that's over the 1,200 that we've been budgeting for the past couple of years, which is why we've been over. So I bumped that up. If that makes sense. And then the mileage I bumped down because we have 6 cruisers now. It's rare that we need to drive our personal vehicles anywhere. There might be instances for. There might be instances where we need to, so I don't want to get rid of it, but I think we can cut that in half. Fees and dues are what they are, most of that's like Chiefs Association, that kind of stuff. Computer purchase and repair, I bumped a little bit because we have been using free antivirus. And it's just not up to snuff anymore for the demands that the state puts on us for our security. So we're gonna have to start paying for that, so it's gonna be 250-ish for the first year and about 150 after that. Plus we buy a new computer for the cruiser every year. When we get a new cruiser, we get a new computer. That's kind of our rotation of that, and the price of those seems to be going up a bit too, so we're bumping that a bit. That next line item is kind of set prices, which I spelled out there, for internet, phone, backup internet, or no, that's internet, backup internet, and then access to our reporting system through the state. That's just what the prices are. Don't have much control over that. Investigations I put down because that's mostly stock of like evidence bags, tags, tape, that kind of stuff for collecting evidence, and we're pretty stocked up on that, and we're gonna use whatever's left at the end of this year to fully fill up what we think we need, so outside of anything that out of the ordinary that comes up, we should be more than ready. Public relations, it's mostly Halloween candy. Training and training associated costs, I bumped both of those up $500, mainly because myself and the other top 3 employees I have kind of maxed out on local training. There's nothing at the academy that we haven't taken or have taught at this point. Recently I went to a international chiefs conference, which I don't know if you guys are seeing the actual numbers, but the actuals for this year are 812 and almost 1,500. I don't know if you guys see that, because the last thing I had was 0, but the actual for training associated cost is 1,425. But back to my original point, to get fulfilling training that gets myself, the detective, the sergeant, what we need, keeps progressing us as a department. It's going to be traveling to better, bigger conferences and trainings. Everything local, like I said. A lot of Vermont's not pulling in as many things as they used to either. So it takes traveling to get good training when you're at some of us are at. So I want to bump those just to be sure. The next 2 things we haven't used in years. Dispatching in jails is pretty much when we hire the sheriffs to transport a prisoner for us. The rate that the sheriffs are charging us, it's cheaper for 2 of us to do it at overtime than the sheriffs, so I'm just getting rid of that. The next one is special services, like if we ever had to get another department's K9 to come and help us with a case. We haven't used it in years, and there's an unspoken mutual aid. Recently, I had to send a detective to Wilmington to help them with the case because they didn't have anyone that was certified to do a Dept investigation on duty or available. And it's not like I'm charging them. So it's just kind of a reciprocal situation where if we needed help from someone else, they're gonna cover that cost, or if they're not charging us. That hasn't happened in years and years, so there's just no reason to have that $200 sitting there.
We haven't had to transport anyone up to the.
We do it ourselves. If we arrest somebody on a warrant, the sheriffs have to do it by statute, because it's their prisoner. If we make a fresh arrest on someone that ends up being transported to jail for the night, we just do it. Rather than paying the sheriff more than it costs us to do it. If that makes sense. So I have it somewhere, the new sheriff's thing just came out. 1 deputy for an hour is over $90. It's cheaper for me to pay overtime for 2 people to go. That makes sense.
We went down in uniform so much.
So uniforms, if you look at last year, we were right under the 5,000, and this year we're actually gonna be slightly over the 5,000 because we split it between the 2 years. Most of it's already in. We have brand new uniforms that we are getting and going to be wearing. We did, Sam worked with a vendor and got us really good deals uniforms, anybody that needed boots, restocking hats, gloves, all the stuff. Everybody that had a need is going to be filled in the next month or so. And when the rest of the bills come in and get paid, this year, we're gonna be slightly over probably, but, the next year, it would only be if somebody blows a pair of pants or ruins a pair of boots.
Or you get a new officer.
Well, I mean, I could plan every line item for that.
I know, but I mean, how much does it take to trick out
I mean, it depends on if it's full-time or part-time, whether they're coming from somewhere else where they had some stuff. But from scratch, a uniform package is probably
Just rough.
$1,500 to $2,000.
okay,
Cause you're looking at, several pair of pants, several long sleeves, several short sleeve jackets. Hats, gloves, impact gloves, stick resistant gloves, all that stuff starts adding up. But all of that is going to be brand new, because a lot of it was old. People were wearing stuff out, so that's why that went down. But it should be more than enough for breakage in the building. And then equipment, we are overdue for firearms. They typically the rule of thumb is 5 years, and we're at about 9, I think, with the same guns. They all work fine, but as they age, they suggest you get.
is this rifles and pistols?
Just pistols, just pistols, so, we already have a quote, we could do it whenever. At just at $5,055. Which is why that's there right now. We're also in the next 12 to 18 months, depending on the person, going to be in need of new vests, because those definitely age out and aren't as protected. So that's a necessity. We're working on grants. The grant for the next fiscal year doesn't open until April. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get a grant for a 50-50 match, but we'd still be looking at, depending on which way we go, $7,000 to $12,000 probably to get new vests. Yes,
What do you do with all like the old guns? That,
they are traded in as part of that package price, so we get some money back for our old ones, which we can also purchase for that price in the deal.
is the trade in,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. So that 5,000 is actually a pretty good deal for new pistols, new red dot sights, lights on them, and on duty and off duty holsters for $5,000 the trade in. So. And then we're gonna need vests, so like I said, which is $7,000 to $12,000, which I don't have in here. Partly because at the next budget meeting, or at the next select board meeting, I don't know if anyone's seen yet, I was going to reintroduce the ARPA conversation. And look at possibly doing some of these things. With some of that versus increasing the budget next year. So that'll be. Just put it in the back of your mind.
Okay,
And then body worn cam, that's the contract price that we all agreed on. And miscellaneous is just kind of where it sits, 500. I think that's it. Everything else, oh, the only other thing that I really fill in is the pager cell phones, that's our AT&T contract. For all the air cards in the in-car computers.
$6,500.
7,000 is what I put in.
7,000?
Yeah.
So weird, I had 6,500. Okay, sorry.
That was the previous year. Actually, it wasn't though. I have an older one that the previous year was 7,000 too.
For next year, you want
7,000, yes. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, 65 was 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just a rough estimate of what AT&T charges us for air card and usage can go up and down. And then, yeah, like you guys said before, the sewer is what it is. We already got the one bill. Everything else, Marco usually fills in.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he did, yes.
Okay.
Working something out, very capital.
Or the doors.
That's part of the or something where.
Capital, yeah.
Capital.
Yeah.
And the cameras, all that.
Yeah, it's not about.
That was okay. But what is the building maintenance?
That is, so, we just had our AC lines freeze in the building, they didn't cause any huge damage, but we had to have somebody come out and figure out what was going wrong with our system, so stuff like that. Like Rich said, the town highway guys do a lot for us, that would usually go out to somebody else, you know, so that might stays in-house.
Okay,
I think that's all I have.
questions?
Just give me a thought, if there was ever like a job that they could do, and they wanted overtime. Like, say, you know, we didn't have enough time to, whatever, they already worked 40 hours, so Travis didn't have any. Extra time, but they could do some job over there and we could give them overtime to do that. Do we do that? Is that something?
Like, so who,
So whatever, Mike and Rich said that the highway they help out
Mhm.
around. I'm just thinking, I like the idea that we're keeping it in-house, that if we can have them do a job. But, you know, they've already worked 40 hours this week, so sorry they can't do it. Do we present them with the opportunity to say, hey, you could work overtime if you're doing something?
You mean like if a police officer wanted to reinstall a door?
or a highway guy?
The highway person, yeah.
So with the camera system we just installed, we got some new stuff, we fixed some old stuff. That was all done by my guys, we didn't pay anybody outside, we paid for the equipment, the hardware. But I had some guys that are capable of doing the install, and they did it at straight pay. When we were doubled up for a day, they came off the road, did that work for me. It saved money.
Yeah, no, I like this.
And Dave tries to
It is
do
very, very helpful.
as much as.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah,
Yeah.
I just like to see that rather than.
Yeah. No. Okay,
So yeah, the main changes are that 25% pay increase.
Other towns.
it's 40, oh, the 10 plus the 15, right?
Yeah.
You just,
Yeah, I snuck
that
that in
is
there.
smooth.
All right, thank you.
That's where I'm at.
Thank you
All
guys.
right, Linda.
First, cause put it right in my computer yesterday.
But main budget, you know, there's not much in terms of
Yeah.
detail that is different from last year, so. Assessor 3%, assessor assistant. We are budgeting this year 28,000, which is what we've done. We've never hired anybody. So this year, for next year, Linda's suggesting 14,000. Which is 15 hours a week at $18 an hour. And yeah, so that's assessor assistant, and then. Or if you go down to the operational expenses. You have assessor mileage and expense. This year, she's at 15, next year, she's dropping to 10.
And you're only at $348 right
Right.
now.
So,
That's for mileage and expense? Is
yeah,
that
we
what you
went
said?
from 15 to 10.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like some things may have gotten posted somewhere else. Cause I don't know that, seems like I've used more money. But maybe I'm
Could've went
thinking
to the
stuff, the
reappraisal.
reappraisal,
Things were billed to the reappraisal.
yeah. That's probably what it is.
And we're keeping the appraiser fee line item, just 714-2311. We're carrying 15,000 across, and that would have been like the Jeremiah
Right,
line item, you know,
yeah,
so if you.
yeah, I'm not sure with. The conversion of AP5 Patriot software. I just want to keep both the assistant and the consultant. Just in case, rather not use it. But if,
Well, you may need it.
I was gonna say,
This is gonna be
Yeah.
a really 2025 and beyond is gonna be incredibly busy and a lot, so you may need help.
right. Yeah.
You probably will. So,
Mm-hmm.
That was it, right? So we spoke about.
legal fees, assessor legal fees.
yeah, that all gets in the big pot, right?
Yeah, assessor legal fees, we didn't budget anything, but I
Well,
don't think you anticipate anything for that.
Probably the next,
the next year, I'm wondering
following
if
year,
we may,
For challenges.
does it make sense to bump it up like a small percent and then the following year, just to. Cause again, there's,
so when will our grievances start kicking in? When, so honestly, I'm just trying to understand, will it be,
so June, the grand list gets lodged in June. Change of appraisal, well. All those letters would go out at the same time. So. I'm just trying to remember this in my head too. So then they have 14 days from that letter to appeal to the appraisal company. They handle the first round. And then whatever goes to the BCA would be like within a couple weeks of that, like you get 9 days to have your decisions made. And then you can appeal to the Board of Civil Authority. And those have to be calendared, set up within a certain period of time. It's been a while since we really had a
so
hearing, I don't remember.
would any of that fall in this fiscal budget? Any potential legal fees on that? Not if this grand list is lodged in June, right?
July 1st,
So this-
2026.
26.
Yeah, so
So-
Right.
the next year is when we probably should look at potentially putting some money in that, like next year at this time.
So this appraisal is gonna take 1 year. We're gonna have a new grand list, like appraisal is gonna be done for 25, 26, or 26, 27.
26, so 2026 grand list will be new values, all new values,
So 26, 27.
For fiscal year.
right,
So not this upcoming.
No, that's right.
Correct.
So I think next year, when we're doing a 26, 27, is when we should make sure to
Right.
highlight that.
and the other thing, I don't really know how to budget for this piece, but the way the state is going, as far as we're already gonna be reappraising every 6 years. They could possibly change that and push it out to maybe 10. So, this money has been sitting in the pot since 2010. So at $8.50 per parcel, that money. I guess I'm trying to think ahead, but not get lost in it.
To save enough money to do
If
it,
we're gonna, right,
right?
and,
Or the state may do it.
right, and we don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Well, hopefully something comes out of this legislation year that they're either gonna go that way or they're not. So until we know that,
Yeah.
we're just,
Right, but I hate to get caught blindsided. I mean, this reappraisal is gonna cost, what, $375, $350, something in there. And we have like 500 and something
Yeah, and then reappraisal.
in the fund, but I know some towns are taking, like, this year, they're gonna increase and ask for, 2%, and then maybe next year 3%. However, so it's not like we're saying, oh, wow, we have to do another full town reappraisal and we don't have the money for it.
I think I'm with Joe, I'd like to know what happens, what the plan is gonna be, cause they've gotta give towns that, I mean,
They need
everything's
that
so up in the air right now, so.
Well, the reappraisal mandate, that passed. Effective July 1st, like right away. The report, that property valuation and review is supposed to be out December 15th. With, making their recommendations. So. Yeah, we'll wait. That's fine.
So they started doing stuff for the appraisal?
So. As of yesterday. I should be able to get in and start inputting. Transfers. So I'll be putting them in 3 programs. Because we can't transfer from one to the other. Which is why. The town provided them with a property card of every parcel. So, I was on the phone with Ryan for a while yesterday. And I know they're gonna really try and start about. Beginning to mid-December. They're starting with all the condos, they're gonna do the condos first.
Over the winter, because people will be coming up, so that probably.
Right, it'll be easier, hopefully.
So the letters should be going out to the condo owners.
Very soon.
Very soon.
Within the next couple of weeks. And Doug is the data collector, he's finishing up Weston right now. With data collection, and then there might be a week. Reprieve, and then he'll be down here.
Okay.
So. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Anything else for us?
I think that was it.
That's it. I didn't order 15 new file cabinets. I did buy 2. They are in pretty rough shape, but I think
Well, so
we'll go with that, the 2 for now.
speaking of your file cabinets, you have very thick. Files, isn't there ability to purge some of the older stuff? So then you shouldn't need as many, back out the file cabinets against.
I think that's where he.
They're
another
pretty
question.
stuffed right now, and I haven't, I mean, there's some drawers that I can't put anything more in because they're so, and where do I put it, I'm taking,
So you, like that whole file cabinet, would it be a good idea to go through and purge?
oh yeah,
Okay, so then we wouldn't.
That would be one of the things that, the
I have to
assistant.
the
leave.
town's
Just-
getting
I-
bigger.
Go to
I
a
don't-
Stefan's banquet for soccer, senior banquet. in
Okay.
Brattleboro. But I think we're done with budget stuff, right?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about healthcare.
Okay.
Jeanette, how many appropriations requests have we received? It's a lot of these, so we can fill those in for.
Yeah, I have like a,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna, we'll do is I'll get them from Jeanette. I'll
And-
fill them in and then
And, yeah,
pass around the budget to everybody, all the department heads and the board, just to see where it all. Everybody can look at it.
the mover has petitioned to be for a $4,000
That would be a new one.
appropriation. So here's the petition.
That doesn't get voted on though, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a warrant article,
Warrant article.
warrant article,
It doesn't get voted on whether it gets on the list.
No, understood, yeah,
it's a warrant article.
first time, right,
I think, Jeanette, can you get that back to Jeanette?
okay. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
no problem.
Thanks. Have a good one.
So you're
Good,
good.
we're good.
I'm sad.
I do have
Yeah.
a quarterly update. That
Uh,
I'll send before
That's.
Doesn't have to do with the budget, but I'll send it before the meeting.
Well, we have multiple things still here to do.
I know.
You got any kids?
Yes.
Kid.
Okay, so that's the general budget overview. Now we're gonna move to the consent agenda. We have to approve the minutes of October 28th, 2024.
Thank you all.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of October 28th.
Second.
You didn't attend it.
That could maybe.
Oh, never mind, I
You
was
still
saying,
make a motion. You
oh,
just-
okay,
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
I was at that meeting.
Yes, you were.
I was the only one
And
who
Dan,
knew it.
I think Dan was there.
Yes,
I
It was
wasn't
a
there.
Zoom meeting?
it was a Zoom meeting, it was like 9 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Okay, yeah, Sarah was not there.
Yeah. And I wanted to put.
And the cow's there.
Okay, and,
Cow's
all
being set up.
right,
Yes, I got five.
and now we have to approve the warrants from October 26th, 2024 for $230,178.46. And November 9th for $296,555.
955.
73 cents.
I make a motion, we approve the October 26 warrants of $230,178.46. And the November 9th warrants of $296,955.73.
Second.
Huh? You're abstaining?
That's the one right here.
Okay.
I know. See one. For both downs.
You want us to vote?
No,
on
it's
that?
okay.
Okay,
Oh, you didn't see the second one?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Dan can't vote either because hasn't seen
Yeah,
it.
we saw the first one.
Yeah, he signed the October 26th.
I think the October 26th.
Well, we have 3 votes.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna continue now, other business, our 2025 health insurance discussion. I know you wanna get this,
No, I just wanted, Roger is on for the.
Oh, right, you wanna do that
Trustee
first?
association. If you
Yeah,
want to
we'll do that.
first, so we didn't know. We want to six.
okay, so the library is down another trustee. Who left the library? Sue moved to Wilmington. So Roger has sent in a letter of his desire to be on the board, and the board is supporting his nomination.
Second.
Yeah, I make a motion.
Appreciate
to
it.
approve.
You making a motion?
Thank you.
Yeah,
And Joe's seconding.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Just appreciate that.
welcome.
Thanks,
back.
Roger.
You're welcome. Thank you, Roger.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we'll talk about health insurance.
Oh, down at locally.
I haven't heard a lot of outrage about potentially going to MVP, but maybe I've missed something.
Yes.
I have.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I've heard from a few employees that do have concerns about switching, especially where specialists are concerned and we're out of state providers as well. And the process of switching the HRA, in my opinion, it would be a whole separate company than what we're dealing with now. So, I'm hoping that we can stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield, whether it's the silver plan or the gold plan that we've been talking about also. I think it would alleviate some of the concerns that us have if we stay with the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. Also, and just throwing this out there too, as far as maybe alleviating some of the cost increase is by using some of the ARPA funding that we have, that we need to commit to by the end of this year.
How much do we have left?
We have $163,897.29. Yeah. Yeah.
well, we've been waiting to use it for the well.
Right.
Which we can earmark it right to the well.
we can earmark it right to
We
the
can
one.
earmark it to the well, so I don't believe that that's a use for ARPA money.
Have we gotten any estimates on the well?
Oh,
No, 'cause-
we can just earmark it for where it's better for the well.
No, I'm just wondering, is the well gonna be like $50,000?
No.
Okay, I've
wells.
never dug a well.
Well, the well is,
No, the well's already in.
it's trenching it and the whole water
Oh, right,
system up,
right.
up in the whole retrofit of the whole thing in that little maintenance area, you know? So, yes, I,
Yeah, no, it's gonna be expensive, but. I think this is a worthwhile. thing.
So-
Well, it's,
Have-
So how many employees do we have?
We have 21 on the insurance.
Okay, so you're asking me to ask to have the taxpayers pay an additional $2,600 per employee for their insurance. It's $71,000 more, there's 21 employees, it's a $78,000 increase, correct? The insurance for the year,
For the year,
it's like 78,000. Last time. Read.
Oh, we're
It wasn't like $7,000, it was like 70.
We're
something.
saying the gold
7,000
standard,
monthly increase.
So that's a
If we
78.
stay with the silver plan, if we go with the gold plan, it would be less, lower increase.
if you compare the MVP gold versus the Blue Cross Blue Shield gold, it's a difference of $277,345. For the course of the year.
and again, then you're gonna be paying more in premiums.
Yes,
Yeah, the premiums are higher for the gold plan.
Yes, and that's money that is not in any way
I'm just saying if you're gonna compare
recoupable.
gold to gold,
Right,
right?
so if we're gonna compare apples to apples, what we're utilizing right now. It's about 70 some odd $1,000 per year. So. That's a 2,000 or whatever. X amount per employee that we're spending extra.
No, it's
more than that, it's 3,000,
320,000.
yeah.
What?
The difference between Blue Cross Blue Shield Silver and MVP Silver is $320,000 a year.
They're right here.
It's it's $853, $367.72 for Blue Cross Silver Reflective. And it's
$853, $360.
$532, $855.38 for MVP Silver Reflective. To Jeanette, I understand people are concerned about coverage for specialists. Are they saying their specialists aren't covered or they're just worried about it?
No, some people have found that they are not covered.
Okay.
They've looked into it, and others we found sometimes if it's a practice, sometimes not everyone in that practice is a covered provider. So just because you go to, like, I go to Grace Cottage, I know the primary care is covered, but some of the other folks are not. So it's just,
It's interesting, I had MVP and I never had a problem with anything, that we never had an issue with that. We're probably going back to MVP too, because of the cost, but this is $330,000 a year. So divide that by 21. And again, this is not equal because the family plans are 15,700 and change per employee.
Per year.
So again. I have to do, I'm saying in my opinion, and I'm only one board member here, and I understand the employees' concerns, but I can't traditionally for the town spend that much more money, number one. And I get that change is difficult and hopefully, I know I did a little research that the folks can ask their specialists to become MVP providers. They can do that sometimes. It's unfortunate that the situation is the way it is, but I have to think of the cost.
Mike,
So the money part aside, I talked to MVP several times for myself, my family, and some of my employees' sake. What I found and what Jeanette hinted at, so let's say SVMC as a whole, Southern Vermont Medical Center, and their satellite offices, so Deerfield Valley, the one in Manchester, they quote unquote take MVP, but as she said, that doesn't mean everybody in that practice does. And asking someone to take part in MVP, I also talk to people in the medical profession, that takes months and months and months and tons of bureaucracy and paperwork for a provider to get on MVP. Because MVP is so much smaller, that's why there's so many providers that don't even bother getting on MVP. They just don't do it.
mhm,
So, for instance, my primary care office has 7, PCPs in the office, 3 of them take it, 4 of them do not. So if we had to see one, and say I had an appointment scheduled with my primary who takes it, but he was sick that day. Someone else covers this stuff, am I gonna be covered? They didn't really have a good answer for that. The other thing is, so Dartmouth, even though SVMC is part of Dartmouth does not take MVP. Generally speaking, there are providers there that can and that do, but generally speaking, as a practice, they do not. What I was told was that, this was what MVP told me. That a lot of specialists at Dartmouth, you can bill through Cigna. When I asked questions about that, they could not tell me how that works, what that means. But it would at very least add another layer of insurance company to an already frustrating process of paying and then getting reimbursed with the HRA. Which at this point, I'm not bad enough in Blue Cross because personally I'd like to stay with them. I do understand the fiscal part of this.
If it's not, if it's not covered, it'll come out of your HRA. Correct or incorrect?
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't think
And if
so.
it's not covered, it comes out of your HRA, then covered things, we're gonna have less money for the covered things. But what I was gonna say is. Currently, the way the process works, and I've talked to several people using it. The delay in the HRA coming to us and not paying and. So people that choose not to pay for the service upfront and get reimbursed themselves, they say, I have an HRA. I'm gonna pay you when I get reimbursed. The lag time in that ends up getting bills that say, we're sending you to collections soon. And so adding another layer of insurance carrier in that equation, I think would be very problematic for specialists at Dartmouth, say, or several of us have college-age kids out of state, and it's the same thing in every instance I've looked into. That they do not accept MVP, but you can go through Cigna. Again, nobody at MVP could tell me what that means or how that works. They said that I had to speak to my employer. I said, well, we don't have this yet. So how do we figure that out? And nobody could point me in the right direction. So that's the concerning thing for me, because I have specialists in Dartmouth for my family. I have a kid in college who uses my insurance without a problem on campus and off. And to be able to do that with MVP is going to at very least add another layer of insurance bureaucracy. And no one can tell me how that works or if it will work.
I can't confirm or deny any of that. It's totally true
well,
on that side, but it's the bottom line is.
Again, I said that.
Okay.
So telling you that.
how about then if the majority of the employees wanna stay with Blue Cross, then there's gonna have to be something out of pocket. There's
Yeah.
just nothing that the town can't continue
Can't
to
just suck it
absorb
up.
100% of everything. And there are insurance there is insurance out there that is substantially less money. And, you know, all this upward pressure is just, it's all falling on the property taxes, and it's just, it's we just can't keep doing it.
Yeah, so that is another option, I mean,
Right.
it's costing us. If we have an option to go with a similar plan, that's 2,000 or 3,000 less per employee or whatever it is.
Over the course of the year, it's gonna be almost 16,000 per employee, just pushing the whole pot together.
$15,262 per employee per year.
Yeah,
Per employee, that's not the family plan.
That's
it's
the 20
the law of the whole
21
thing, you know, that's everything.
So, yeah, I mean, if. Hey, we can explore all different things, there's literally 3 of us, no public. The police chief, who has a majority of the employees. There's nothing to say that we can't change the plan. And have where, you know, each employee has to pay $1,500 upfront of the HRA as opposed to at the back. Which it is right now. And then you guys, if the majority of the employees wanna keep Blue Cross Blue Shield, then that's the decision. I would throw out, as there's only 3 board members and Dan's listening, I throw it out, here's your choice, you change the MVP. And we keep the HRA the same, or we stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield and we switch the HRA to the other way. And we're still paying more,
We're still paying.
we're still paying
That's
just
10%, that's 10% of what we are, of the increase that we would be covering. 1,500 is 10% of the increase that we would be paying.
But the increase.
Well, if you take 320, 512. Is the difference between Blue Cross Silver Reflective and MVP Silver Reflective is $320,512.42. You divide that by 14 employee or 21 employees, you get $15,262. So if you say we're gonna ask the employees to take 1,500 out of pocket up front, that's 10% of the 15.2 that we're paying above and beyond.
Yeah.
What we would be paying if we were on MVP.
I don't have, I mean, Jeanette, I don't have it in front of me, that sent us out. What it was and what the percentages were.
Oh, what it was compared.
What it was more money over if we stayed with the same plan.
I've got this stuff.
When you're throwing stuff at me, I don't.
I'm
can't
comparing,
have-
I'm
I need to
comparing
see
a
it.
future number to a future number.
And that, the number you're using is not the second half of the next fiscal year, right? Because it's changes in January of 2026.
Right.
So, it's even probably gonna be potentially more, who knows, right? Ah,
So Blue Cross Blue Shield was we went with the same thing, it was the yearly total. For 2025 to go with the same plans was $496,846. The new plan is $429,615
yes.
with MVP.
Mhm.
So that's the number, the $67,000 would be the cost.
Oh, for the first 6 months, basically, because we're gonna be absorbing a lot of this increase starting in January. Whatever it is, that's in this year's budget that we didn't budget for enough.
Well, this is yearly, this is the yearly total. Correct?
But the
whole
plan
year.
price changes in January, we budget July to June.
To get
Right,
that.
but we put in a 5% increase for the second half of the year.
Yeah, but it's
We're not-
way over 5%.
Something.
But there's
We're not gonna
in there.
gain anything.
So no, so you take this July to December 2025, and then January to June, and with a 5% increase, and they're also thinking it's gonna be double digit again next year. It's 532. And for the two halves as a guesstimate on the second part, and then.
Well, I'm just, I get that we have
Versus-
increase.
Versus 853.
So that's,
And I bet they're
that's
both
the
wrong.
number I'm basing off of it, is the savings that the town, you know, by staying with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, like, I get the increase is hard, but if we stay with the same plans, it's costing us $67,000 more for the complete year. So that's why I was using a $1,500 or $2,000 in the front of the HRA, which would then allow the employees to stay with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, but we wouldn't have that increase type thing. And then anyone that doesn't use it, it's not gonna cost them any more money. They're still gonna stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
No, I think do we have to switch as a group, or can we?
Yeah, no,
split
what I'm
it?
saying is, if someone who we pay for the plan, see, it's not even gonna be cost, it wouldn't be a full thing, because there's some people that don't probably use any HR, we'd have to do an audit. Right, correct?
There's a lot of people that
So
never do.
this is just, we wouldn't even have that much of a savings. It's just that there'd be more skin in the game a little bit for the employee side of things. So there's, I'll say this on record, it's just that we can't, as a town, keep absorbing, and I get that other towns are paying more, but I'd really like to see what their benefit package is in comparison to the town of Dover, because we pay everything. So I mean, if Wilmington was better and Whitingham was better or the same, then we can compare apples to apples, which we're not able to do. I don't have that information. That's something I'd have to go out and ask each town that's nearby us, so. Between raises and it's costly. And I just don't believe the town can keep absorbing it year after year. The taxpayers can, or we should be explaining it. The taxpayers, I'm fine, whatever the taxpayers tell me to do, that's what they tell me to do if they vote on it, but I can't, I don't know.
Yes.
It's tough. I get what you're saying, Mike. I totally understand. And
Yes, Mike.
That little hiccup just made me lose my train of thought. First of all, I don't technically know how the HRA works. Is there money that you guys have put in the budget and it is sitting there,
Mm-hmm.
ready to use for the
Mhm.
funding in HRA, or is it sitting there and when the HRA says
so,
someone's using it, you then pay it?
so
No,
so you just, HRA is a health reimbursement account.
Right.
And HSA is a health savings account. So some companies don't cover HRA, they will give you health savings account. Then you can do,
Right.
well, you kind of own the money, but you're not being covered. Right now, we cover whatever's not being covered up to X amount on your deductible, on your co-pays, that comes out of the HRA that we are funding. We go with a silver plan, and we actually, as a town, are actually on the hook for more money. But because of our experience ratio, we're actually self-insuring a little bit so that we aren't paying as much. When we looked at this 10 years ago, nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is the cost of it's gone up and the deductible amount's gone up. So believe it or not, if I was to do a cost comparison, what our HRA is, what we had to have as a insurance was maybe 250,000, or now it's like 700,000. Just exponentially over the last 10 years, insurance has gone skyrocket.
Sure, I don't know.
So,
if that
does that-
specifically answers the question I had,
What is the question?
which is, does the town budget to cover each individual and or family member's insurance, HRA, whatever that total out of pocket
No.
in town?
No.
we do a percentage based on our
Okay,
experience.
Expenditures.
because we're not using.
Because we're going with historical
Historically, we did
usage,
not use that.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's-
But that could, we could get burned one year, you know.
Sure.
Somebody could
But
have a
we-
catastrophic accident or illness and that would be.
But by, I should say this in front, towns collectively, when they do a gold plan and don't do what we've done, we've collectively probably saved over $1 million to taxpayers over the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah, we've saved,
But you still got the exact same insurance, we just, we just did it by whatever, so it's really sad, but each town is different, they could have a lot of unhealthy people in the town, it's just. We're not paying, the insurance, I can't, I don't even wanna go on. Insurance is designed, it's like over the whole thing, back 30 years ago, you bought that insurance, it was your group, and that group came along and kept going along, you'd pay for that group. Now they just lump us all in. So
Yeah,
that's why.
so we fund 50%.
Okay.
That's what we've done.
We haven't had.
Premium, that's for the premium.
Correct.
The HRA is only 15%.
Medical insurance deductible HRA, 50% of max.
That's what we fund in the HRA, and a lot of you,
Yeah,
we haven't used it.
So even that, they're not using typically.
We're using, I think, if I can remember correctly, we use usually between 30% and 40%. But we budget 50%. The first year we budgeted 100%,
Right.
just in case, and we didn't use it, and then we've been able to see the experience ratio, we've been. Basically doing our own little insurance policy, and I think Marco would explain it better, the same.
I get it now,
Yeah.
it's just what,
So-
that's what I was wondering, whether the whole HRA.
no, we don't
Also
put,
out of pocket is funded. I get it.
because some people use it, some people don't as
Yeah.
much, and
But I don't, just talking to you, Mike, I don't have the answer. But I'm pretty sure if something is not covered and it's medically. And say they don't cover it, like a specialist, I believe our HRA, so we could kick ourselves in the ass, excuse my French, because maybe we start having to pay for more out of it and we don't even save anything. Because your specialist could still be covered, but we'd have to pay for it out of the HRA. I'm not sure how that all works, Jeanette doesn't think so, but
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it.
Because the provider would have to
Yeah.
send that to the HRA. Like it
So-
goes.
No, the individual would pay the bill and then they would submit it and get reimbursed.
Yeah.
Right, but if it's not a covered expense, then.
If it's not a covered expense because they're an out-of-network provider, it's still covered,
Correct. That's what
but
I'm
it's
saying.
not covered directly by the insurance. There's a provision for out-of-network providers.
So the full amount. Would be, we would pay the full amount without any insurance.
Upfront.
Like we were just paying for it because we don't have health insurance, say, paying for a surgery. Out of pocket, and then we would submit the bill that we paid to the HRA regardless of whether it was in network or not.
It actually doesn't matter if you have insurance or not, because if you don't have
Right, but I'm
insurance,
saying like we didn't, right, yeah. I
but
get
there's a
Yes,
very big
right,
difference.
Right, no, I know.
Right.
I'm dealing with that now because of.
So if you have,
Sebastian aging out of some coverage that Michelle had, so.
so. We're not gonna make a decision today, but is it gonna be on the agenda for Tuesday?
Well, yes.
Okay.
It has to be done soon, whatever
Okay,
you're
so-
gonna do, especially if you're gonna change providers, it's gonna be a lot on me, so.
I guess the next question is there someone that you're speaking to at MVP that could explain this, that could be at our meeting, or is that just not
Uh,
not possible?
I
Or is it
don't-
just not there anymore? It seems like you can't talk to anybody anymore.
A lot of times we would call and other people have tried and they won't tell you anything unless you tell them what plan you want.
Yeah,
And it's like, well, we don't know what plan we want because we need your information.
I called 3 days apart. The first day I got somebody that told me everything I needed to know, but they couldn't answer the question of how Cigna gets billed. I called back 3 days later and they told me they couldn't tell me a single thing until I told them what plan I had.
Well, if we don't have a plan yet.
Right. And they didn't care about that, so they just didn't want to answer.
Yeah, and honestly, I think, because they are a smaller organization. That's one thing that Blue Cross has great for it, is they're larger and I've always been able to speak with somebody.
Just wish it was $7,000 and not $67,000.
So I,
It's
I
320
compare
hours.
what's gonna be coming down the road, not what we've already spent.
Yeah, I don't, Sarah,
It's an increase.
it's no matter what we have to pay. One or the other. What I'm
Right.
saying is the increase to go with Blue Cross, to stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Is the number this number here. I get that we're going to go up, all of them are going up, this is the number that I'm working on.
I'm
Same
working
plan.
off of, if we get this plan, we spend this much, if we get this plan, we spend this much, the difference between those two. Those two plans, not from last year, this year to this year, between the two plans is $320,000 different. I'm not comparing it to last year.
You're just saying Blue Cross Blue Shield is $320,000 more in premiums.
Than MVP.
And HRA. So it's 853, 6, you have these things.
I know, but I don't,
It's this bottom line right here versus this line right here.
Those are the future price that we're budgeting for, not this year versus last year.
And it's probably low because they're going up more than 5%. For 2026. All right, I think we
So-
beat it.
you don't.
Yes,
So if if you're leaning towards then moving to MVP, are you gonna still cover that 100%? Or is it one or the other? We stay with Blue Cross,
I would like to cover 100%. I personally would like to do that. To stay with the much more expensive plan, it is gonna be very hard for us not to ask from the employees, because everybody's paying for this stuff these days, you know? And there is a plan. I don't know, I've had it multiple times, it seems like it's not a big deal, they pay. My kid was in college and played football in Chicago, and he used it, and he had no problem. So I don't know what to say, you know, that's just my opinion. I'd like to try to do it and keep it as a full benefit, but if there's a lot of pressure to stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield, I think there should be some employee contribution, because it's outrageous.
These are not comparable, something's not right here. These are not comparable plans.
The silver reflective and the silver reflective?
Well,
Sounds.
max deductible RX, I mean, it's,
They're different, all the plans have different
right,
HRA, or, you know, yeah.
this is like so totally different, it's 4,000 as opposed to 10,800 on the Blue Cross Blue Shield. This is like, this doesn't, something like, it ain't computing.
Can I just say one more thing? So. I honestly think that having a good answer, and I don't know who can answer this, to that question of. If something is not covered or a provider is not covered, are we able to use the HRA? If the answer is yes, definitively to that, that might be. Something that tips some people to say, yep, then I can make this work and save the town some money. If that makes sense, but I don't know who can answer that question definitively.
I don't know either. How about,
You mean as far as MVP?
As far as I have an HRA,
Right.
I have insurance, my insurance won't cover this, the procedure I need, so I pay out of pocket, will the HRA then reimburse me? Whoever's running that HRA, will they just turn around and reimburse me if I submit my bill and prove that I'm not covered for it?
Now, what would that be called?
This is just.
because you went to an out-of-network provider and they,
So you're not talking about whether the procedure was covered or whether
The
the
provider,
provider.
that's how they work, right?
This-
Say I blow a knee out and have to have reconstructive surgery, and it's an emergency. and
Sarah,
SBMC is where I go and who does it, but that provider happens to not be covered, but I needed the
you
surgery.
think the number's
That day.
wrong.
this is, so the big thing is the HRA that we're on the hook for. In MVP, that's what I'm saying, it's 92,344,000. So in the silver reflective plan, their deductibles are a lot less, there's something, this is just, I mean, their numbers are just so much lower. from the max XRA, so that's why the HRA funding is so much larger, but if this is true, there's no way that I could sleep at night, and I would resign if we kept the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Because right now, we're gonna be on a lot less of a hook for the HRA. This plan, this seems to be too good to be true, that's why I'm saying if it's too good to be true, something's not right. Cause it all comes down to the HRA maximum funding. And it comes back up to third line down with the maximum HRA. This is 4,000, 8,000, as opposed to, couples 21,000, 8,000, so what you're on the hook for. This is just,
Well, it's
I don't
it's
even know why
probably
anyone,
here.
I don't know why anyone would even buy Blue Cross Blue Shield if they're buying the silver plan.
I have to report it.
Yeah, so we
I'll
definitely
look at
gotta
it
do a
too.
little bit more research on that.
The last time we talked about this, there was somebody threw out that the reason they think Blue Cross jumped so much compared to other things was because they didn't have.
Their money in the bank, they
Right.
spent
Yeah,
now.
they don't have the cushion that they're required by law.
Yeah.
So if that's definitive, then is that gonna balance out next year and Blue Cross and MVP could be the same price next year?
They could be.
Then we'll switch back.
Cross could still be in the
So did you
hole and
sign
have
the
to do
warrants?
another
Yes.
double-digit increase because they didn't make up enough. Because when they raised their rates that much, they lost more people, and so they're not bringing in as much money, and they're still gonna have to charge
But-
more until they make that nut up. They're guessing how many people are gonna stay.
I'm gonna tell you so much story on Tuesday.
I think, and everybody ought to plan for probably a 2.5 hour at least meeting, there's a lot on the agenda.
Awesome news.
The water task force is coming in. I'm not saying the
That's not gonna take very
WTF.
long.
I just love the fact that as I sit here and I used to sell health insurance and life insurance.
Oh, you
There's
poor
not an
thing.
agent that you can talk to that understands this better, that you can pay, you can't get a hold of anyone, and that's all because of our state.
Well,
Taking that away, so now we try to figure it out, and we can't figure it out.
well, they also wanna
They change,
close
they don't
down
want
house
us,
services at Grace Cottage.
Yeah,
What?
Can I just,
what'd you say, Sam?
I will.
no, I just wanna remind you.
What?
this-
Sorry.
I just wanna remind you that the Snow Lake Dam meeting is on Monday.
At 6
At
at
6 o'clock
at,
at the town hall.
yep.
Okay. Then we have our meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And the next budget meeting is December 12th.
2 o'clock, Thursday, yes.
Yes.
And I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 4:30.
So the public meeting. The select board, what are they gonna do?
They're doing a presentation about, what's, how it's